start with an injury update for your squad, if there's any injury news.
Yeah, Davey Proper was feeling a little bit of tightness in his calf, but it's nothing serious. I think he should train tomorrow. He made good recovery. It was more precautionary than anything. Adam Webster's made good progress as well. So we're going to wait, obviously, as long as we can to make a decision, but he's looking like he's going to make the weekend. Apart from that, everybody's okay.
Okay. How have you managed to keep the team's spirits up? Have you said or done anything with the team to sort of help them move on from, obviously, the knockback against United and looking ahead to this important game against Norwich?
Well, I think it's about perspective. Manchester United are a level above us, is the truth. If you'd have said to me as we're entering out of lockdown that if we play Arsenal, Leicester and Manchester United, we pick up 4 points. If you'd have offered me that in the press conference before the Arsenal game, I'd have probably snapped your hand off, is the truth. So it's about perspective. We're disappointed to lose, of course, but we're also positive in terms of we know how hard points are to come by in this situation, and we've picked up 4 so far. So we have to go to the next game feeling positive with the work that we've done, and look forward to the match.
Has this game against Norwich got even more meaning now? Because obviously a need to bounce back both mentally, and then of course you've got 2 very tough games with Liverpool and Manchester City following, so the need to sort of create some breathing room.
Well, it's an important game. It's always going to be important because of where we're on the table, what stage of the season we are for both teams. I would say as well. I think it's a really important game for both teams. But again, it's not something that we're surprised about. We knew we would be in these situations. Like I say, we've picked up 4 points from the lockdown, so we're in a better situation than we were. We were only 2 points above the bottom 3 at the start of this restart. So we've increased our position, we've improved our position, so we can be positive about that. But at the same time, we know we've still got a lot of work to do, and so always in the Premier League, the next game is the most important, and it's Norwich.
In terms of goals, I imagine you wouldn't mind a few more goals from your squad. How important is that to you in this phase of the campaign? And also, is this next game an opportunity? Norwich have also not been scoring too much recently. So is this game an opportunity to put that right?
Of course, yeah. Every game's an opportunity. Goals affect games. It certainly helps if you can score, but it's an area of the pitch we know we can improve in both boxes. We've tried to improve that, and at the same time, like I say, it's the Premier League. It's the hardest thing to do in the game. But no, we're positive. We're ready. We're looking forward to the game. We're looking forward to trying to have a good balance in our game, and then we'll have to do our best because Norwich will be fighting as well for the points.
In terms of signings, obviously there's a bit of news out about Lars Dendoncker. Is there an update on that you can give, and why do you think he might be right for the club?
No, there's no update. I don't talk about players that aren't at Brighton. It's just speculation. Sorry, okay. I can't answer anything about that. And we're in the middle of the season, and we're focused completely on winning football matches. Okay.
Is there any particular area that this restart period has highlighted that you'd want to focus on in the upcoming transfer period?
Well, I think you're always monitoring your squad. You're always assessing the squad. You're always looking to see how you can help the team. Firstly, by working with the players that you have. And then, of course, secondly, when the windows are open, that's the opportunity for every club to look to see what can be done to improve. So nothing's really changed in that regard. But all that happens is the more games you play, the more information you get about your squad, the more information you get about the players, and then you make decisions accordingly. Nothing really changes from that respect. So yeah, I'm pretty sure we've had information from these games, but that's the same as before the lockdown.
But is it especially difficult because of obviously how close these games are together? I mean, you have some tough matches coming up with Liverpool, Manchester City. To play teams like that so close together, given the differences in the depth of squad? Does that highlight a lot that you wouldn't maybe normally get the opportunity to see?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Sorry.
I guess given that the games are so close together, it highlights, especially when you've got tough matches against teams like Liverpool, Manchester City, back to back. There's a difference in the depths of squads. And is that perhaps exacerbated by the proximity of these games?
Well, there is a depth, but I think we have to, again, perspective is important. If you're comparing yourself with Liverpool and Manchester City, if you're Brighton, then I'd say your perspective is slightly skewed. There's always a challenge in the Premier League at some point in the season, whether it's over the festive period or sometimes happens when there's a close games. They've got a deeper squad and a better squad, but we know that anyway. We know that that's the challenge we face. There's no excuse there with that. It's just something we have to deal with and adapt to it.
Okay, thank you, Graham.
Thanks.
Thanks, Joe. Aidan, if you want to unmute, and then ready to roll.
Graham, good afternoon to you. Would it be fair to say that you kind of managed your resources quite pragmatically in the last game, and obviously with a view to this one, just giving Mopé a half, giving Trossard a half, taking Popper off at half-time because there was an injury precaution? Do you expect that, what you hope will be that freshness to prove decisive in such an important game against Norwich?
Well, I would say it wasn't done with a view to this game. It was done with a view to the idea to try to get a positive result against Manchester United. So that's always the focus is on the game in hand, the game that you've got, the Manchester United game. And then obviously, if you have to take precautionary decisions around players or players aren't getting at the same time, it means they're a little bit, I suppose, fresher to play the next one. But I think in the Premier League, you can't write off any game. And you can't assume that one game is going to be, easier than the other. It's just focus on the next match, put all your resources and effort into that next game. And then once that's played, move on to the next one.
Huge chance for you as well, though, to put daylight between yourselves and the bottom three. I mean, you could go to 36 points. I think I'm right in saying that. And then obviously Norwich are out of sorts. The teams around you at the bottom have mostly got some very, very difficult fixtures. It's a big chance for you, isn't it?
Well, as I said, it's an opportunity to take 3 points against a team that's fighting for their lives as well. So it's not straightforward. It's not an easy game. I know it's going to be complicated, but at the same time, it is an opportunity for us to win, as every game is. But we've got to do well. We've got to play well. We've got to not necessarily worry about what may or may not happen if and when you win or you don't. You just have to focus on the game and what you need to do to win.
Have you thought about what points total might be enough to keep you up this year? I mean, if you do go to 36 at the weekend, I appreciate there's still a big job to be done. I mean, 36 most years in the last decade or so has been enough to keep you up.
Yeah, I'm not thinking too much about that, to be fair. I'm just thinking about how to prepare the team to play Norwich. And then if we get the 36 points, then I'll worry about it then. But we just need to stay focused on what we can control, which is the next game, which is our performance, and then see where we go from there.
Can I ask you about Norwich? Because they look like one of these sides who have really not benefited from having a 3-month break, because they play a very high-intensity pressing game at the top end of the pitch. It must be so difficult to pick up where you left off after 3 months, particularly when you play that kind of game. And do you think it's proved decisive in terms of their own survival hopes?
I'm not sure. I think if you look at the league table, most of the teams down there have found it hard to get results. I don't think it's just about style of play necessarily. I think if you're a team that's promoted, you need your crowd. You need the home crowd, probably. I think the guys at Norwich would say that. They'd want Carrow Road to be full and making it hostile. So I think that's been more of a miss for them than necessarily the playing style. I think without the crowd, it becomes it probably favours the better teams, if you like. Because the crowd can influence the games, at periods where you're struggling maybe because you don't have the same quality that the opposition have. The crowd can help you, so probably they're missing that. What
is this period demanding of you as a manager and as a coach, and as you're of your team as well, because I mean we have to go back to probably Second World War period before any manager anywhere has had to manage this kind of situation where you've had such a long break, and then after such a long break, you're managing a schedule of loads of games within a short period of time. What's it demanding of you?
Well, it's obviously over the lockdown. It's a lot of uncertainty, and you sort of analysing what went well, what went wrong, and you're sitting looking at the league table and being reminded every press conference that you haven't won in 2020 as the weeks go by. So there's that, and then there's the pressure of the games and making the start that you have, but ultimately, I think you've just got to work with the players, try and create a good environment for them. We're happy with what we've done so far in terms of the points that we've got from the 3 games, I suppose. We're probably lucky to get the 3 points against Arsenal with a missed penalty against Leicester. Maybe we could have got some there, but that's just life. We know we've got a lot of work to do. We know we're in a pressure situation because of where we're in the league table, 2 points above the bottom 3 during lockdown. So, like I said, we've increased that and we've made that bigger, but we've still got more work to do. And it's a challenge, but it's satisfying as well.
Thanks for your time.
Cheers.
James Savindra, if you want to jump in next.
Hi, Graham.
Hi, James.
Graham, what have you learnt about your squad from these opening 3 matches back? Because you said at the top there that you'd have snapped our hands off if we offered you 4 points after the restart.
Well, I was being a little bit, not sarcastic, but I was being a little bit, you only have to look at how many points the teams down the bottom have got since the restart. You know, they're not so easy to come by. So if you'd have asked at the start, you play Arsenal, Leicester and Manchester United, and you get more than a point a game from the bottom, if you ask any of the bottom 5 teams, I think they would have said, absolutely, I'll take those. And then, of course, as you reflect, you think, could we have done this, could we have done that? But that's what you get. And I think if you'd have offered that to Dean Smith or to Daniel Farker or to all these managers, they'd probably say the same, yes, thank you very much. What I've learned about the players is that it reinforces that they're there to fight, that there's a real togetherness, there's a real quality. They work really hard for each other. We're really committed together group, and whatever happens, we're gonna give everything. That's probably been the pleasing thing. Their response over lockdown, professionalism over lockdown, and then their awareness of the situation now has been really, really good.
Are you feeling any pressure from the sides below you? As you say, it's been a real struggle for some of the sides, especially when you look at the bottom 3.
Well, there's pressure because, as I've said before, you spend 6 months without a win, and then you're reminded of that pretty much all the time, and then you know that you've got a lot of games coming up that are very difficult, and you're only 2 points from the bottom 3, and that feels like it's been for, 4 or 5 months. So I'd be lying if I said there wasn't external pressure. But again, it's about perspective. If we win on Saturday, that gives us 36 points. It's the same total they had last year with 5 games to play, 15 more points to play for. I suppose it depends on what your expectations are, where your perspective is. We know we've got to fight. We know we're in the Premier League. We know that every game is so tough. Every game is so difficult. It'd be strange if I sat here and thought, we should be getting 50, 60 points.
And just finally for me, how significant would a win be this weekend? Not both in terms of, as you say, getting up to 36 points, but also in terms of damaging a rival. Because if Norwich lose that game, then that could pretty much be it for them.
Well, our focus is on us, and like I said, we want to try and win the game. We're disappointed with the result against Manchester United. We don't like losing. It's not a nice feeling at all. So we want to bounce back from that. And we know that it's against a team that are fighting for their lives, and they'll see it as an opportunity as well. So it's just another complicated game in the Premier League where nothing is straightforward. You have to fight for everything.
Thanks, Graham. Good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, James. Johnny, if you want to go next.
Hi, Graham.
Hi, Johnny.
Any questions for tomorrow's papers? Just stick your hands up. If not, we'll go straight into Saturday.
Graham, I'm just going to start on a sort of general point. We've had quite a lot of football now since the lockdown. Have you got any sort of general observations in terms of the pace, intensity, the style of play, not just in your games, but maybe some of the others that you've been watching?
Not really. I think the lack of crowd has been the main factor, and of course it is because it's such a huge part of football, and sometimes the more sterile the environment is, it obviously affects the teams with, if you like, lesser quality than the bigger teams. So there's games, you watch a Premier League game and you see one team on top, and all of a sudden there's one referee poor decision or one big tackle or some action happens in a game, and the environment completely changes. The crowd have gone from being against the home team, for example, to now totally with the home team, and everything's just, you probably have less of that type of swing and change in the game, and it's probably a little bit more. I'm going to use the word sterile, but it's probably a bit more just. 11v11 football match.
Just on one of your players, Alexis McAllister's got a little bit more game time. I just wondered what you thought about his contribution and whether there's even more to come from him as he gets more minutes under his belt.
Yeah, I think there's absolutely more to come. I think all players benefit from playing game time. He's adapting to the Premier League. It doesn't happen in one or two games. He'll get better and better. He's a young player. He's learning about the game, learning about himself, learning about his teammates. So he's going to improve, I'm sure. But he's started off well. He's helped the team. He's contributed to what we're trying to do. And there's more to come from him as well.
And just on Norwich, what are you expecting them in terms of style of play? And obviously you beat them earlier on in the season, but what are you expecting them from in this one in terms of patterns of play and as a challenge?
Well, I've got a lot of respect for Norwich as a club, as a team, because I saw how they got promoted from the Championship. I think there's a really good infrastructure there. Daniel Farker's done a really, really good job. As a club, I think they've got a plan, they've got values, they've got an idea. And, whatever happens to them this year, I'm pretty sure they're going to improve from their experiences here, whether they're in the Championship or whether they're in the Premier League. I'm pretty sure they will because of that type of people there. And in that regard, when you have that type of mentality, it's going to be a fight. It's going to be tough. They're not going to give up. When you see the games, there's some fine lines between taking the lead in matches. They have good moments in the game. So a lot of the stuff that they've done well, that they continue to do, and we have to make sure that we're playing well, and we need that bit of luck as well because it's going to be a tough match.